Hello everyone and good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. Today we have got such a really useful and helpful discussion with Sarah from Juniper, which we'll introduce in a moment. We're really grateful to have Juniper here to show us all of the fantastic things they're up to. And this is going to be a discussion all about the practical ins and outs of writing governor's reports. We all know that challenge ever so well, don't we? We've got to write a report, we don't know where to start or what to include. And what we need to think about is head teacher reports don't need to be a scramble through scattered spreadsheets, lots of disconnected systems and duplication. I don't know about you, but I used to find myself doing the same job like 3,000 times over. So we're going to have a look at Juniper's join up strategy today, which can transform the way that we can all manage our data. And it helps to bring everything together in one place. So I'm really delighted to be joined by Sarah today.
Oh, thanks so much, Lucy. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Barton, and I am the Chief Operating Officer at Juniper Education. And I'm just so excited to be here with you all today. I've been with Juniper Education for nearly 5 years now. And prior to that, I spent much of my career in education, including my time as an executive head teacher and also as a Deputy Director of Education at Reach 2 Academy Trust, which, for those who don't know, is the largest primary-only trust in the UK. And today I'm thrilled because I'm going to be sharing with you how Juniper's joined-up approach to software systems can really help simplify governor reporting, making the data clearer, more consistent, and ultimately more impactful. In my role as executive head prior to this current role, I really do know firsthand how important the relationship with governors or trustees is, and the challenges that can be experienced in preparing reports for governors. Lucy and I were just talking prior to you all joining us, and I remember my first headship, my first ever governors meeting, where I inherited a reporting structure that must have been about 35 pages long. I didn't know where to start, and I'm not sure it was particularly useful for them either. So I'm really hopeful that by the end of this session, you'll see how the tools that I'm about to share with you can save you valuable time, can reduce the time it takes to generate the reports, help you present data that sparks more meaningful conversations. And I'm going to keep coming back deliberately to that word meaningful. You're so busy, you have so many things to do, and therefore everything you need to kind of put your time and energy into has to have impact. And all of this, of course, improves your stakeholder relationships with those important individuals and supports you in driving school improvement. And I am really proud to say that here at Juniper, we're really passionate about supporting schools to keep their focus where it really matters, on children, learning and school improvement. So before I really go into the topic of governor reporting, I just thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about our company, because some of you may already know us, but for others, this might be your first introduction. So we are Juniper Education, and we are proud to be trusted by more than 14,000 schools and 70% of multi-academy trusts across the UK. At Juniper, we provide the technology systems and best-of-breed services that schools need to support them in achievement against their individual priorities. And I think what really sets us apart when I think about it against other education software and service vendors in the market is the way we deliberately through design bring everything together for you. So from the classroom to the back office, right through to how you engage with parents and other stakeholders. And while our systems are really important to us, our real focus, as it should be, is on people. And just making sure that we provide systems and software that support our school communities, and most importantly, the children they serve. Our mission statement here, which you can see on this slide, of we look after you, so you look after our children, is lived and breathed at Juniper. But we've taken an exciting next step in the evolution of this mission into realisation. And that's what I'm really excited to talk to you about today, the next launch. We call it Join Up. So what is Join Up? Well, Join Up is our integrated, flexible, modular approach to school improvement. And I'm going to share more about it later in the presentation. But for now, just know it marks a really exciting chapter, a new chapter, and the way we will support schools and trusts moving forward. So, why are we here today? Well, we're here to talk about something that I know, have lived and breathed and experienced myself, can just feel like another thing to do on top of an almighty to-do list that already exists: the creation of governor reports. Creating reports that are not just accurate but also insightful is no small task. With everything else you're juggling, it can often feel like there just aren't enough hours in the day. Yet governors, rightly so, they rely on clear, timely information. It's what allows them to provide effective oversight and hold leaders to account. And therefore, when reporting is consistent, it's easy to follow and it's joined up, it builds trusts. It gives everyone a shared understanding, and it helps governors or trustees focus on what really matters: improving outcomes for children, not unpicking confusing data. So that begs the question, really, what does good reporting actually look like in practice? And is there a better way to connect school improvement plans with reporting tools, rather than relying on the outdated, clunky systems we've all put up with for far too long? Well, I believe at Juniper, and all of my colleagues would attest to this too, we think the answer is yes. So just go with me a second. Imagine a reporting framework that includes a flexible modular approach and adapts therefore to your individual school's needs. Imagine a reporting framework that integrates systems, so your data flows seamlessly between multiple systems. And imagine one that provides a holistic view for governors, giving a clear picture of school priorities across the whole school. And of course, these complete solutions at Juniper are backed by expert support, so you're never left on your own. And when you bring all of that together, reporting becomes more than a tick box exercise. It becomes a really powerful tool, saving you time, giving governors clarity, and ultimately, as we've said before, driving better outcomes for pupils, because that's what it's all about. Before I go any further, I just thought it would be helpful to just kind of remember who these governors and trustees are. They are people giving up their free time to serve schools. Pretty special. They are totally voluntary roles, some with large responsibility for overall effectiveness of school or mat life, and many of them are professionals, perhaps retired, perhaps running their own families, but they are gifting, and I use that word deliberately, they're gifting their free time to the education sector. Now, when I was in my role previously, I always remember the best description that the CEO of Reach 2 at the time gave to me as to the role of a governor or trustee. And that was, he said to me, Sarah, think of them as critical friends. And it was really helpful to me. Now, I know, dependent on setting, whether you're in a maintained school or MAT, that will determine, of course, their absolute legal or statutory responsibility. But their fundamental role, and don't forget this, is to champion and support all elements of school life, whilst challenging and holding to account, using fresh perspective on what they see. And again, in order to kind of fulfill their roles, their time is limited. They'll not be fully ingrained in everyday school life in the same way, of course, you are as senior leaders. They'll not know all the intricacies of how their schools, how your individual pupils or staff are performing. And they may attend the more engaged ones and the more with time, I suppose, may attend larger school events. They may conduct monitoring exercises, pupil voice, financial reviews, teaching and learning walks, perhaps. But they absolutely have to rely on the information provided to them by you as the leaders in a reporting format in order to be able to fulfill their roles meaningfully. So this reporting element isn't just a tick box, it's huge. I believe it's these regular sets of papers submitted to the board during the annual committee schedule that they will have to use to offer their challenge, provide their views, and hopefully celebrate some successes along the way. Now, because of our deep understanding of how valued and valuable the governor's or trustee role is in a setting, that is why at Juniper we build our solutions with them in mind as a key stakeholder. We want to ensure that the reporting accessible to them and on behalf of yourselves or a school using one of our systems is intuitive, it's easy to digest, and of course it's accurate, whilst providing a really deep insight. We also want to make sure it isn't overwhelming. Back to my kind of 35 pages, you had to hunt for the right information in order to be asking the right question at the right time. Now, I also appreciate, and we also appreciate at Juniper, just how busy school life is. It's the best job in the world being in schools, but we know how busy it is for our leaders. And we just want to make sure that the content they are submitting is not seen as just another onerous task needing to be fulfilled on top of the other hundreds that you've had to do that day. So we really do take the creation of content that you supply to your governor body very seriously. I suppose the best we can do here at Juniper is support both leaders and governors in ensuring that time is spent actioning, analysing and discussing the information in the reports, not time spent creating or gathering from many different systems or people the reporting in the first place. And unfortunately, in my very privileged role as Deputy Director, I was overseeing a number of schools at that time, and I would see schools often in that latter place. And it was this administrative burden that actually created the friction or tension sometimes between the stakeholder group. And if not that, it would just create some confusion at the very least. Now, as you'll obviously know, and sometimes may be a source of apprehension for you anyway, governors and trustees are also an important element of any external moderation process. Their understanding and ability to incisively know and minute their challenge and support forms part of an overall judgment for a school around leadership and management. So helping them feel prepared, because it must be daunting for them too, helping them feel prepared, equipped and confident during any form of external moderation, such as the dreaded Ofsted inspection, is really, really, really important to us. So let me bring all of this to life for you. Let me share with you some real life examples of where we have made sure that our reporting meets the needs of your governing body requirements. Let's take Sonar Tracker. It's one of the most widely used pupil progress tracking tools in primary schools. It's helping leaders and teachers keep a clear picture of progress and attainment across the whole school. And because it's built in partnership with schools, it's always evolving to meet real needs. Now, when it comes to reporting for governors and senior leaders, I know how time-consuming it can be to pull everything together. We've talked about it already, to make sense of the data and present it in a way that's both clear and actionable. And this is where Sonar Tracker, really makes a difference. Take the characteristics overview report. This allows you to instantly compare attainment across key pupils and key groups such as ethnicity, gender, attendance. No more pulling data from multiple spreadsheets or systems. Instead, governors get one simple visual picture of how different groups are performing and where gaps might be emerging. And it turns conversations from, am I looking at the right data? Do we have the data we need in front of us? Into, I can see really clearly where things aren't working particularly well. What do we need to do about it? Or over here, wow, this looks incredible. Let's work out how we scale this practice up. We're also adding a further developed SEND report this academic year. And this will provide a much richer view of progress and attainment for pupils with special educational needs and disabilities, making sure their achievement, those very small steps in progress, often hard to measure and judge, they're visible. And their needs are understood rather than hidden within overall averages and distorting that overall picture. And then I'm really excited about this particular one. There's observations. Now, this feature gives teachers a quick and easy way to record qualitative evidence of pupil learning. And I was reflecting with colleagues at Juniper the other day about this. You know, I used to love going into the early years. I used to find that is where some of the best practice took place, the most creative, the most immersive. And they were always walking around with tablets in hand, capturing pictures, capturing little videos, because it was the only way, the main way of really demonstrating tangible daily progress, because children of that age, they're not linear. And things move all the time, but it tends to kind of peter out over time. And I was a Key Stage 2 teacher, and yes, photos were important. I'd take some nice photos for the books or for the learning displays or other bits and bobs, but it wasn't part of my qualitative judgment around that overall view of a child. That practice almost kind of got left in early years. And we were saying, you know, wouldn't it be fantastic? Isn't it fantastic that now, hopefully, through this release of observations, we'll be able to support teachers all the way through that primary experience of capturing the stuff that really matters in the moment. So whether it's a piece of work, a classroom interaction, a milestone in personal development, observations brings the data to life. And I think that's so helpful for governors and trustees. It just means, rather than just looking at cold numbers all the time in isolation, it's reminding everybody that behind a number, behind a percentage or a statistic, there is a child or a group of children. And all of these tools that I've taught you about for Sonar, Track, Adjust, all of these tools work together to make reporting clearer, more consistent, and again, more meaningful. They save leaders time, they give governors the insight they need, and most importantly, they keep the focus on improving outcomes for children. And it doesn't stop there. One of the other really powerful elements of Sonar Tracker is that the attainment and progress reports can now be tailored to your role in school or to the audience that you're reporting to. So to the specific outcomes you're aiming for are shown in this example. For instance here, we've currently generated a report for a governor data meeting. So by selecting the relevant fields, Sonar Tracker creates the report automatically, saving you time, pulling all the information that's relevant for that piece that you need, and ensuring therefore the information you're providing is exactly on point. We've said it, governors, and it's not effective. Less is more in this arena. Governors do not need to wade through endless pages of classroom level data in order to know which is the right question to ask. And at that trust-wide performance as well, they don't need to wade through reams and reams of individual schools' performance trends either. We make sure now that the reports are grouped by role and purpose. So it just means you can log in, go straight to that, find what you need, and you've got it for your governor report. It allows governors and senior leaders to instantly spot trends, to highlight areas that need attention, and base decisions on clear, joined up information, all without the stress of you in the background having had to juggle multiple systems or spreadsheets. In short, it's about making reporting not only simpler and more efficient, but just far more impactful. So we've talked about Sonar Tracker that serves our primary customers, those working in primary schools or MATs. So let's move on to our solution for our secondary schools. And again, this comes from one of our other attainment trackers, CSRA Analytics. It really is a trusted tool, currently used by over half of all UK secondary schools, and it plays a vital role in helping leaders and governors understand progress and performance in very complex organisations. It does so much more than just crunch numbers. It gives schools the power to track student progress, monitor attainment, and analyse performance data across the whole school in ways that are clear and meaningful. One of the things leaders tell us they value most is how governor ready, and I quote that from a recent customer testimonial, the reports are. Instead of senior teams spending hours reworking data, CSRA produces reports that are accurate, consistent, timely, and easy to share. And it doesn't stop at school level insight. Every term, we also produce national benchmarks sent directly to head teachers for inclusion in their governor reports. Now, why are these important? And How do we achieve those? Well, I've just shared with you that we have 50% or just over of secondary schools trusting us as a valued partner and using CSRA analytics. That means we look after, in a really privileged way, over 50% of data related to secondary schools in that UK market. So therefore, you're thinking about statistical significance. We've got a rich data set to make sure that we are sharing back to that customer base. And what often happens in education is we'll get the regular DFE updates, but they're always, how to phrase this diplomatically, a little bit too late. You know, it's great, you know, when you see your overall scores at the end of the year, and then you're waiting, and then you get the national picture. But by that time, that's just about a reflection tool. It's something that's already passed, and then you go again into your next year. What this benchmarking element of CSRA analytics means is that you will have a much more regular and up-to-date view of national performance. So you're not waiting till the end of the year where it's a little bit too late to make any incisive decisions. You have information based on a statistical significant cohort that tells you how things are, whether things are on track in certain areas or actually where you need to probably intervene because you're slightly behind. That way, again, for governors, they've got a really insightful piece of kit that they can use to benchmark their questions and their decisions and where to offer their challenge. Because it's not just about your data, it's about looking at your data in a much wider context. And really excitingly, this September, we had some really exciting news. So it's something that not only strengthens our support for secondary schools, but also enhances the power of CSRA analytics. And I'm really thrilled to say that today is the launch of our new partnership with Pupil Progress. And this really is a big step forward. CSRA analytics gives schools that top level view, a clear picture of student attainment and progress across the whole school. But what Pupil Progress adds is the ability to drill right down to that classroom and curriculum level. And that means leaders and teachers can see in detail where interventions are working, where extra support is needed, and how performance looks subject by subject. For governors and senior leaders, this is a game changer. It's a triangulation tool. It means you can track trends at a strategic level while also having confidence that the detail, because you're able to kind of dig behind those numbers is exactly where you need it to be. Decision making as a result of this becomes sharper, more precise, and more directly linked to school improvement. So in short, by joining up CSRA analytics and Pupil Progress together, we deliver a truly joined up view from school-wide performance right down to individual classes, and not just subject, but topic level too. And that complete picture gives schools the tools they need to act with confidence and make the right changes at the right time. And that brings me brilliantly onto Join Up, something I mentioned earlier, but what actually is Join Up? And why is it so important right now in education? And most importantly for you, how does it relate to the topic we're discussing today? Put simply, Join Up reflects the way Juniper thinks and works. It's a connected approach that aligns staff, families, systems, and services around the challenges that matter most. We really do know the pressure schools are facing. Rising absenteeism, behaviour concerns, teacher wellbeing and retention, and just generally limited resources and funding. We also know the difference it makes when parents feel informed, when staff feel valued and supported, and when tools that you are choosing to use actually match the way schools need to operate. Join Up is simple for us. The more data we have from a school coming from more than one solution they take with us, the more meaningful and deep our intelligence that we present in our reports can be. Join Up with Juniper is about systems and people integration. At Juniper, we believe the way that the current education technology market is currently set up is not supporting schools and maths the way that they deserve. We believe the market is split into two camps. A camp that provides the all-in-one MIS solution, or another camp that's about hundreds of providers that recognise this particular system doesn't offer the depth and expertise, and therefore they've created a solution that's classed as best in breed to provide the depth. So let's look at the two different camps in isolation. Let's take the first one I mentioned, this all-in-one monopoly MIS solution. They claim to offer a one-stop shop of solutions and functionality that can support most aspects of school life. What really happens here is that schools still have to reach out into the wider education market and bring in point solution products to provide expertise in that area. A great example of this, shelfware that we like to call it, something like assessment or safeguarding. Most all-in-one solutions say you can get your safeguarding or assessment with us, but actually typically the depth of that solution does not meet the schools or maths requirements. So what do? They shop elsewhere. They need to bring in another provider. And essentially what we think at Juniper is that's wrong. That means people are having to compromise, or worse, pay twice. There isn't the opportunity to just use the core functionality of an MIS around statutory returns, attendance, and that practice that actually the MIS is meant for, not all the stuff that it says it does around the outside. Therefore, more often than not, schools have to rely on that second choice. They have to go into the market and purchase a number of different systems and services in order to provide them with that depth that they so desperately need in those other areas. But combined with other software and service choices, they find that those systems just don't talk to each other. So it becomes a fragmented set of technology or services, which might help one particular area. But school improvement is about understanding how it all fits together. It's that holistic view. So how useful is that as a solution? Well, we at Juniper believe it isn't, especially for leaders that include the role of governors and trustees. Having that fragmented array of systems or services means leaders have to go on a bit of a scavenger hunt for a complete answer. Let's take one of the issues I talked about earlier. Let's take the first one, persistent absenteeism. And it's rife at the moment. It's very scary. If schools rely on this kind of amalgamation of different systems, they're returning and pulling data from different places. You know, for persistent absenteeism, you'll need data from your MIS. You'll need it probably from your safeguarding system to start to triangulate, well, if this child is off, is there a reason, and do we need to be aware of it? You'd need it probably from your pupil performance. Is this persistent absenteeism having an issue or a direct correlation to the way they're performing? And you probably something from your wellbeing or behaviour tracker. Is there something in there that's also giving you some information back into this persistent absenteeism? Now, if you use that first system in isolation, you'll only get one answer. And it's always just going to be part of the answer. You'll get this child's absenteeism is X. Not helpful. What you need to do is look at all the information you have in your school and all the people that engage with that child and work out what is the true meaning behind that particular persistent absenteeism percentage. We don't think that you should have to do any of that manual intervention, any of that moving from system to system, pulling together that information to get the view. We think that by joining us with JoinUp, you would stop the manual intervention and you'd be able to get straight to the heart of it. And the reason for that is we would ensure that those systems, those different ones I've talked to you about, are joined up. So the administrative ask is minimal. Most importantly, the data spine between all of those systems is accurate, and the connective tissue is making sure that those systems and services talk together. And that I've just explained to you, we believe is the third way. JoinUp is the third way. It's an orchestrated excellence, and it's the way that any meaningful report should be generated. And this is where JoinUp with Juniper might be able to support. So head teachers can use Juniper Education software and services to produce complete school-wide reports, or focusing on the key areas that need attention. giving governors not just part of the story, but as I've said before, that whole holistic picture. The result? Well, governors and senior leaders get a clearer, joined up picture of the school, making it easier to spot trends, identify priorities, and take informed action in the moment when it truly matters. It is about saving time. It is about reducing complexity. But most importantly, this is about giving everybody the intelligence they need to ask the right questions and make confident decisions. Now, I think I've spent most of the time talking to you about how Join Up can bring value to everyday school life via integrating seamlessly your systems and services. But what I haven't talked about is that community element in which you'll be joining as a Juniper customer. As you can see, hopefully from this screenshot, Join Up is much more than integration. It's an experience. It's a place for you as school leaders and for your group of stakeholders to feel connected with each other and also other colleagues from across the UK. Join Up brings all the system you are already using into one platform, one login, one dashboard. Schools can choose only the tools they need, whether that's a tracking system and some managed services or a safeguarding software like CPOMs or other products. Juniper integrates them seamlessly into this joined up platform. This means your school can work smarter, stay connected, not pay for additional shelfware that's not needed, and focus on what really matters, supporting pupils and staff effectively. So in today's context, just to recap, how does Join Up help head teachers and leaders create reports that are both accurate and impactful for governors and trustees? Well, I believe it's this. I believe that our reports are aligned, first of all, to your school improvement priorities. They ensure that the reports are directly supporting those strategic conversations with governors. There is always so much to talk about in schools, but actually you need to remain laser focused on the priorities that you have set out and are continually iterating and reviewing during those particular meetings. We believe that they need to be integrated and comprehensive. Data points are joined up from a number of systems. As I've mentioned a few times, and I'm going to kind of end the presentation on, it provides the complete answer, not just part of it. And really importantly, it's about giving information at the right time and not too late, which often happens in these annual committee schedules or through the publishing of national data sets. We provide reports that are accurate and timely. There are no data integrity issues to worry about. There's no manual intervention needed where human error can kind of come into play. Join Up is that connective tissue between the systems and the people, meaning a reduction in administrative burden and instead some space for timely intervention, escalation and guidance. And that brings me to the end of our session together. So just from me, thank you so much for your time. I do know how precious it is. I also think it is really important that you provide yourself this time to connect with each other and to just kind of stop the world around you and just focus on something that just helps you move the needle slightly. I hope you found it helpful to see some of the tools available to support the production of governor reports. And I really hope what I've talked to you about around Join Up has resonated and landed with you, and you could see the value in why we're designing everything here at Juniper that way. If you would like to explore how Join Up or Sonar Tracker or CSRA Analytics could work for your school or trust, or you just simply want to connect over anything I've shared today, I would love to hear from you. And you can get in touch with me. My email address is here, but I'll read it out. sarah.barton@junipereducation.org. So thank you again for your time. I've really enjoyed myself talking about something that truly, truly matters. I hope it's made a little bit of a difference, and I'm wishing you all the most wonderful day, and most importantly that your start to this new year has been a fantastic one. Great to be with you. Thanks ever so much.
Well, Sarah, that was so lovely. Thank you so much. And you know, it seems like a no-brainer to me that, you know, to actually explore what you guys have done at Juniper, because if you can have everything in one product has a little spotlight, so you're getting the best quality of each product within one platform, then that seems like a great idea. It's such a time saver. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. And apologies if anybody experienced Wi-Fi. We had a few internet issues. I don't know why, but we just did. So if you experienced that, we do apologise. We will be putting a recording of this session in our library. So it's uninterrupted. There will be a nice recording there for you to watch at a later date. But yeah, such a great product. Well done, you guys. Really, really superb. And it does say exactly what you believe in terms of supporting families and children and schools to do their best. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We are really pleased to kind of use this opportunity to share this with you today, because we've spent a number of years, Lucy, actually. You know, we started our business 2019 and went around the market looking for what we thought were those kind of best of breed products. And we've spent the last few years bringing them together. But we've always had this mission right at the heart of what we were trying to do, which was provide that joined up experience to gift back that holistic view that is so needed when leaders are making decision after decision after decision on a daily basis. They shouldn't have to go scrambling around in the way perhaps they currently are. So I'm pleased that's landed, and thank you for your time again.
That's right, it's a pleasure. And you're right. I mean, like, you know, as leaders, we don't even have 5 minutes, do we?
No,
we don't have 5 minutes to make a really considered decision. So it's really important to have tools like this, which have everything that you need in one place. Just saves a lot of time. I can imagine it's easy to implement, etc., etc. So, you know, it's worth looking into. If you are interested, there's Sarah's email address, and the website is junipereducation.org. I really do recommend you take a look. It is definitely worth checking out. But also, Sarah, while we've got you on the phone, on the webinar, tell us about the new Ofsted framework. Is that integrated or? Absolutely.
So just a little bit about Juniper Education. We half of our staff, if not more, actually come from an education background. So it's, you know, similar to me. I just happen to be representing the business in this call, but we have teachers, leaders, ex-business managers. And the reason we do that is because we want to absolutely make sure we are still very much aligned to exactly what's happening here and now in kind of an ever-changing educational landscape. So again, the kind of the new Ofsted framework has been pulled apart by our internal team. We've made sure that all our product decisions, all our services decisions are in response to that, aligned to that, because we have a number of schools during Ofsted actually themselves kind of ring us asking for a little additional support or helping us navigate the exact right thing for the questions that they've just been asked. So every bit of information surfaced back out in that educational landscape, DFE, Ofsted, any other body, we absolutely use as part of the framework for our thinking, and then as part of our product evolution for sure.
Oh, amazing. It's really reassuring. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope that's been helpful. I do hope that the next report that you write is fun and you actually enjoy it and you feel more confident about it because you know how to go about it in the best way as a result of watching our lovely Sarah today. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. We hope you have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.